That actually reminds me, especially in regards to like trans issues, because one of the other main things is like they what is it going? Uh, God made you in just the way He wanted to make you, and by
Mm-hmm.
changing your body, it's an affront to God. Well, I like to point
Mm-hmm.
out there's something in the New Testament that is very important, a very important moment in the New Testament. It's called a transubstantiation.
Yeah.
When your deity, the Son of God, and if you believe in the Trinity, the actual face of God on the planet, went up a mountain, spoke to himself, and physically transformed into a different being with a new description on what he looked like, how his body was designed, physically became a different person. However, you cannot fathom it in real life when it's such a major part of your religion. I should have did what they use for evolution. It's like if, if God made you exactly how you were supposed to be, then why are there still babies?
Right.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we and that's actually something I'll bring up again. Interconnectedness of stuff, because we don't talk about this enough. But anti-intellectualism and
Mm-hmm.
anti-science. Why is there so much of that? Consolidation of power. Because again, if because especially science, because science is so direct is not the word I'm looking for, but concise, I guess. Like
Yeah.
if science figures something out through study and testing and goes, hey, X is a fact, we have tested it, and this is how it works. And your power structure is depending on that, how, like, that not being true. You have to tell people that science can't be true, and you shouldn't listen to it,
Yeah.
even though it's right in front of your face. I had a friend tell me that climate change isn't real, and my response to him at this point was, you can track your fucking you can take your thermometer every summer and track how hot it was when you were a child as to how hot it is now. You don't have to go to a scientist, quote unquote, to know that. You can do it yourself. You do it through your own observations. However, because that doesn't follow what he is told and was told to be true, his own observations cannot be true.
Yeah.
But again, the only reason you were told that was true is because somebody told you it was true. And the only reason somebody told you it was true is because these systems came together to hold power to tell you that was true. And in order for them to hold power, they had to tell you that was true. It
Everything's
Everything's
connected, man.
connected, and also, goddamn, and this is across the board. Y'all ain't as much free thinkers as you think you are. You're really not. You say, oh, I'm a free thinker, and I learned this. These are my beliefs, and I've built this through all my research. It's like, no, you're not, because the things you have been fed, the things you have been seen, have been shown to you for specific reasons,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just processing those things.
I say mm-hmm in this derisive tone like I'm not also guilty as
Oh,
charged, right?
me too. And I have to. I walk myself back a lot because
Yeah.
none of my ideas come from me. Like they come from me as in I say them, but my
Yeah.
ideas are a culmination of things that I have read, seen, and put together in a way that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about this before. It's the difference between truth and facts. Like facts are real. Facts are what happened. However, the interpretation of those facts is truth. And everybody's truth is different. But those are not your ideas. You didn't create those facts. Now, there are people who create facts. And those are called liars and charlatans.
Sounds like fake news to me, Keem.
Don't get me fucking started. But I'll say even this about that: the greatest charlatans don't lie. They just convince you of a new truth of the facts you put before. That's what makes Trump, like, again, back to Trump. That's what makes Trump so interesting, because he spun some of, like, real things into the dumbest fucking conclusions and went, there you go, it's real. And because of the way things were interconnected for his followers, they didn't think twice about it.
Yep.
It's fucking amazing. Like, but all in all, like, you can't separate shit. Like, we haven't said the word intersectionality.
We have not said the word intersectionality.
You know what? No, I'm gonna not use intersectionality, because, again, while it's a good word to describe it, the intersections of such, it doesn't quite. One, intersectionality doesn't quite encompass these situations we're talking about, because it's not just intersecting. These things intersecting is the wrong idea, because that's the concept that these things exist in the world on linear separate paths, and they cross over. That is not true. They do not exist separately. They are a conglomerate. Secondly, people tune out when they hear intersectionality.
That is true.
They tune out, and that's not even just a right side thing or left side thing. Even people on the left tune out when they hear intersectionality, because back to what we were talking about earlier, when you bring up that things happen to, like, work together, they don't want to hear it. Intersectionality has been such a buzzword for that concept that as soon as it's brought up, people are not going to listen. So I don't want to use that word. But it's a conglomerate. It's all mushed in together, irreconcilably joined. And of course, again, I don't know who we're talking to here. I talk about, like, people not listening or whatever. I truly don't think we're going to reach anybody new or give somebody a breakthrough or anything like that. I've moved past that that idea. But I do believe that there's maybe some people out there that have similar ideas and haven't been able to, figure out how to express what they're thinking or what they believe or whatever. And if this helps somebody, maybe find the words they're looking for to talk to other people. That's
either because we say something insightful, or, as usually happens with me while I'm editing, I will listen to us ramble on about whatever it is that we're rambling on, and then I will go, oh, I should have said this, or, oh, I'll have other ideas that are sparked by the things that we say, which is one of the reasons that this episode is happening, is because I listened to last week's episode and went, oh, I wish we had talked about this, or I wish I had said this in that moment. It's just a way to, I don't know, it's a jumping off point.
Right.
Whether you think that we say insightful things or not, it can be a jumping off point.
Yeah. And I just wanted, I feel like it's important for, at least for me, to let it be known. It's like, I'm not telling, as the Kanye West song used to say, I'm not here to turn atheists into believers. Like I've moved past the point in my life where I'm trying to convince people of anything. I'm just here to hopefully spark some ideas, maybe spark some conversation. Um, because fuck, tiring. It feels like we've come to an end here, but I don't want to. I don't want to end this on a down note because that seemed like kind of like a drop at the end. Um,
Yeah.
um, I think what I want to say with the at least one, I guess, my conglomeration thing is like I know it can seem daunting.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the major reasons people don't like to talk about uh, the conglomerate. They don't like to talk about how these issues are intertwined because once that thought comes in, it feels too big.
It's too big. It's too much.
Right.
It's scary. What do you do? Where do you start? How can I do anything?
But I also think knowing that everything is a part of a like larger unit, it can help you. I don't know. Like maybe it can help you start. As
Yeah.
in, okay, everything I do, everything I can do across the board is helping. Like confronting your anti-racism. Confronting your racism and becoming more of an anti-racist affects everything across the board.
Yeah.
Becoming like if you're becoming more aware of LGBTQ issues and being supportive or being part of the community and like working towards that helps across the board. It all helps. Like being anti-capitalist helps across the board. Everything you can do as part of each of those things treat helps treat the disease at large.
Hmm. I told you about my next tattoo that I'm going to get, right?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure.
I want to get it. I want to get a seam ripper, which anybody who doesn't sew, if you have to remove a seam for like undo a seam from an item that you're sewing, you use a seam ripper, which is like it's got a little pick on it and it also has a little blade so that you can like slide it in and cut the threads. And I want to get that because of a quote. I don't remember the actual quote, so I'm going to have to paraphrase, which is that the systems of oppression are like a big piece of fabric that's covering all of us. And nothing that any one of us can do is going to remove the whole piece of fabric from us. So pick a thread and get pulling in it. That's the only way to remove the cloth, is if every single one of us grabs a thread from this fabric and starts pulling it out.
And I, I also will say on the flip side of that,
Mm-hmm.
everything you do otherwise also affect if you're doing things to, let's say you're a leftist but you're being sexist or racist, you're hurting your own cause.
Yeah.
Because everything is part of the same.
Yeah, because you're ripping with one hand and stitching with the other.
Right. Same things with black issues, LGBTQ issues, whatever.
You don't have to fix everything yourself. You can't fix everything yourself.
But you can.
But make sure that you're not acting counter to other people who are doing the work.
Right.
Everything in solidarity.
Everything in solidarity. And I think that's a good place to stop. Like
Yes.
everything in solidarity. We are the world. We are the wait, sorry. But with
Are you gonna come? Are we gonna have a theme song now?
Not that one because that's gonna